All right, folks. So thanks for your patience as we kind of run around through the day. We're going to go through a lot of the Teams and Copilot conversations and all the new stuff that was announced at M365 conference a couple of weeks ago. So I'm Brian Wofford. I'm a Principal Customer Experience PM. I manage our MVP program for M365, and I also am a content manager. So if you've been to ESPC or M365 conference or TechCon, all those sessions are like my brainchild of like trying to put all those together and make sure you guys have the right topics and stuff. And then I suckered Connie into coming with me. Yeah.
Right? Is that on the video?
Yep.
Little fish hook?
Yep.
Yeah. So I'm privileged to be here with Brian. We go back a long way. And I'm a typical global black belt in Americas. Means I have no ninja skills. I'm actually quite the klutz. But what I do is I work with some of our S500 customers, our upper majors customers. I look to find best practices, scalable, repeatable motions. And then we incubate all of the new technology as global black belts inside of these organizations so that we can close the loop between marketing and engineering, taking your feedback directly into those work streams so that we can deliver product much faster. Gone are those days where you said, hey, Microsoft, we'd like you to do this. And we said, sure, we'll put it into our backlog and we'll roll it out sometime next year. Now the feedback comes in directly from you to us, and you might see updates in beautiful loop. So that's where we primarily focus.
Yep. Sponsors, I've said this in every session that I've delivered. Please make sure you're spending time with the sponsors. We were so thankful for them to be here. That's how these programs happen. That's how these events happen. So if you haven't gone down and at least talked to these folks while you're here, it's worth your while. There's lots of good information in each of these cases, but platinum sponsors are definitely how these events continue to occur.
Amen.
All right, so agenda. We got a lot of stuff to cover in an hour. We're going to get through it. We got this. Is fine. It's fine. I've had coffee.
If you can do it, we can do it.
Yeah. So we're going to go through overview of AI. We're talking about communication, collaboration, workplace. And then if everything works out, we should have about 5 minutes at the end. We can even hang over a little bit for Q&A as we get through this. But the goal is to really give you the intersection of Copilot and Teams, because that's really where we are. Like, as I think about the Teams world, like Teams is the primary product that people go, oh, look, it does all these cool AI things. So that's kind of the first foray into AI for folks. And then it's like, oh, what else does it do? So
good question. When was AI embedded into Teams? Does anybody know? Do they have an idea? Nope, even before that. Even before that. So Teams actually had AI embedded since its inception in 2017, which was
March of 2017. Yep.
So that's how it elevates some of it knows who you talk to. It knows that I talked to Brian, more so Brian Wofford, more so than any other Brian in Microsoft. So it elevates those interactions right from the beginning.
All right, so let's talk about the horizons of the AI revolution. So one of this is that there's two sides of this. Okay, so the first is it enhances business as usual. I still think there's a lot, I see both sides of this coin in my day-to-day job. One is I am constantly using AI to enhance what I'm working on. I am constantly figuring out what it can do to help change a deck or change a document or update something for me. The way that I think about this is I am still the knowledge starter or source, and then I'm asking for it to make that a little better or modify that or think about different ways to deliver it or different formats. Where I think some of the fear is the right-hand side, that it's going to start replacing humans at scale. The way that and I'll give you some real-world examples. The way that I think about this right now is, for example, conference in Florida just a couple of weeks ago, we take all of the decks and we turn them into PDF to publish for the people that are attending. A year ago, that was me sitting at a desk, writing code, feeding in PowerPoints, exporting PDFs. Now I have an agent, and I'm like, go convert this folder. Done. So it's more of figuring out where the replacement makes sense. Is it going to take your job? No. Is it going to take the repeatable things that you do that you don't like to do? I hope so. That's how I think about that. So the reality of the revolution is a white text on a white background. We have to fix that. It's providing superpowers for transforming how the work gets done. And what we mean about that is exactly what I just said. It's thinking about the fact of that, where does it fit into the mix? Like, where are things that I can do? What are things that I can do with AI that are going to make my life a little bit easier? What are things that I can farm off to, co-work and have it do things for me? Doing document translation is one of the areas. Building decks, like building content and stuff. As I start to build a lot of the content that I speak to now, I start with an idea and a framework, and I let AI have first pass. Like, hey, you have access to all of my data and the same things that I can see and interact with my company. Go build me a first pass in this. Go tell me what are the key points that you're hearing, using public information. And it's perfect. No. Is it get me started? Yep. Always. So it's also just going in with that mindset of like, it's not going to replace me. But it's definitely going to potentially make me a little bit better, or it's going to take things that would have occupied my time off of my plate so that I can spend creative juices doing that versus doing mundane tasks. All right, so transforming how it gets done. There's kind of 3 layers here. So we think of Copilot as top. So this is your productivity assistant. We start to think about agents and teams. So talked a little bit about Facilitator already and some of the things. How many of you used Facilitator already? Yep. So that's one of the cool things is the Facilitator agent and the things that it can do. But it's thinking about those functional agents that are within teams, and then also starting to think about Work IQ and where Work IQ fits into the mix. So this is really the 3 pillars that we think about: that intelligence layer at the bottom, our functional agents in the middle, and building agents that can do things within the construct of teams. And then obviously Copilot kind of sits at the top of that. There's a lot of notes on that slide. Look at that. All right. So the big piece about this is that it is really this intersection of all of these things. Okay. So it is the intersection of communication, collaboration, and workplace. So from the communication standpoint, it is meetings, calling, events. It's where it's helping us to stay informed during the meeting. The big part about meetings for me is we're all busy. I can't tell you how many meetings I've double booked in, especially being at a conference this week. How many of you have missed? Like, who knows how many meetings we've missed this week? And so my thing is always, I go into Copilot and I'm like, tell me who assigned me stuff while I wasn't there, because I know you did it. and I get that report at the end of the week so I can take a look at things. But that wasn't possible. Like a year ago, you just like somebody would say, oh yeah, I sent Connie an email. I need her to get something done for me, or whatever that might be. But that concept, and I said this in a podcast I was just on, it's the joining the meeting. And sometimes you're not going to know everything about every topic on the meeting, right? You're just not. So I join meetings now, and if somebody says an acronym or they say something that I'm not sure of, I pop out a Copilot. Hey, tell me about this topic. Bring me up to speed on this conversation real quick while I'm in this meeting. And the context of the meeting is in play. So I can very quickly become relevant and have that conversation without being like, I don't know what they're talking about right now, and I've got to go do some research and come back with further questions. That happens a lot now of those types of pieces where you're kind of thinking through those pieces. The collaboration aspect. So this is chat channels and communities. This is also making sure that we're not just capturing ideas and stuff, but we're actually turning those ideas into actions. So where you've now got agents that are sitting in the channels and they're doing things with the context that's in the channel, being able to interact with that agent to ask questions about things, or even in the SharePoint world, asking questions about document libraries now. It's just making it where information is more easily accessible and getting the right information. And then last of this is workplace. So this is where we're just thinking about things where the work actually happens, being able to do things with meeting rooms and being able to do things with signage and all the things that kind of come along with that. So all of those things are said to say this: Teams is kind of the cornerstone of all of that. Like when you think about it, Teams is where we sit day in and day. I live in Teams like all day. Like it's the one app that is constantly open for me. But we're going to talk through some of those updates and pieces around that. So we'll break it into these categories.
And by the way, fun fact, do you know how many users use Copilot through Teams today, whether it be agents or other interactions? 78%. So what is that? 3/4.
Yeah.
That's quite a bit as far as number of interactions that go directly through Teams. So one of the things that we're going to talk about is around some of the communication and how we think about all of the different capabilities, as Brian mentioned, as far as you think about automating tasks. And really, do I need to continue to do those mundane tasks? Are there areas where we can take communication to the next step? I don't know about you, but I feel bombarded by communication. There's so many different entry points for it. I don't even look at email anymore. I have an agent that runs. I schedule it twice a day in Copilot, and I just have it giving me an update keyboarding point on all of the things that I miss and what are the things that I need to catch up with. And then I put it in priority order. And I also have a draft email ready for me to send. So what used to take me all day, I can simplify. So as we think about Copilot call delegation, this was called personal attendant. Did anybody use this in the Frontier form? Frontier?
That's a good question. How many folks are in Frontier or familiar with Frontier? Okay. So Frontier, for those that aren't, it's a way for us to get you access to things almost like a beta release of sorts, like before they
have to do a
tap or
program and sign up and sign all of these NDA with stuff. Basically, you can enroll in that, and then as new features come, because they're coming so quickly, you can take advantage of that for a subset of your users. So obviously, you probably don't want it for every one of your users, but 5 of your users, you can automatically assign.
Talk a little about call delegation. So the big piece of this, the call delegation part of this is being able to answer phone calls on your behalf, filter out things that are coming in, and kind of make decisions on kind of how those work. What have you? I know you're using this
I
for
use
sure.
This all the time. And so one of the things that too is it identifies spam. So it can also, as a voicemail comes in, and this is whether it be through VoIP or through the PST, it's able to give me kind of like what is happening in this call and gives me a preview of it. Rather than talk about it, let me actually just show you what this looks like. The other thing is it can also check my availability. So if somebody's looking to schedule time with you right now, that's your EA, right? Your executive assistant who does that. But I'm not high enough in the organization.
I don't have an EA. Yeah. This is the best it's going to get for me.
This is the best it's going to get. But what it does is it allows me to actually see this. So I can go ahead, I can see an incoming call, and then I can choose what I want to do with this, right? So I can hit that little button that says view screening. So as I view the screening, the call's coming in, and you can see now the call is being recorded. It lets the user know that because that is required by FCC, right? So, and it's also saying, hey, this is whatever, and I'm able to see your call. And then
you've reached Ilya's line. I'm your AI personal assistant. Who am I speaking with?
Hello, this is Dakota Sanchez. I'm calling from a Datum Global Supply in New York.
Hi, Dakota. What can I do for you today?
I'm calling to talk with Ilya to understand Zaba's plans for expanding into the Japanese market and how we can support the effort.
On it. Is this something urgent in case they're not available right now?
No, it's not time sensitive. I would like to schedule some time with Ilya today when he is available. My time zone is U.S. Eastern Time. I would like to meet for 15 minutes around 3 p.m. Eastern Time if Ilya has availability. The meeting title is Japan Market Opportunities.
I'm never this specific when I leave voicemails.
123-555.
You know who this is? Call me back.
00.
Ilya is available today at 3 p.m. your time. Does that work for you?
Yes.
Great. Just to confirm, the meeting title is Japan Market Opportunities, and your callback number is 123-555-0100. All set. The appointment is booked for today at 3 p.m. Anything else I can help with?
All set. Thanks.
And by the way, I love this feature because it does allow people to leave messages, but I will say I've had a few people call and it is kind of spam related. And they have no idea what to do with it, right? So it's kind of
the voicemails
fun.
are great.
Yeah, the voicemails are actually kind of fun to watch because you can tell that it's like, oh, wait.
Hold on, what? Yeah. Well, I think the big piece about this for me is that this exists, right? It's the fact that this is now an endpoint or a medium to go get something handled. Because normally this would be leave a voicemail. I call them back. We got to check calendars. We got to figure out stuff. All that was done. It's like in the call. Nobody's ever going to leave all this detail in a call, 100%. But like the key pieces of this, like being able to call someone and say, hey, I just need to set a meeting up with Connie. Tell me when she's available next, and get that back real time versus having to like wait for Connie to see the voicemail and wait for Connie to check her email the 2 times a day that she does. Like all those things are real time.
Exactly. And this works in the background with bookings. So you're able to go in and see those 3 busy calendar areas. So it works automatically inside of the things that you already own and use today. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yep. So that is coming. So it's not there right now. It is like, long PCA. It will come. So you'll be able to do some of that. The other thing too is that also learns about you. Now, keep in mind, Microsoft doesn't use it in their all our own models, but inside of your tenant, it does learn about you so that you can do that. The other thing is how many people are that patient? You can interrupt it, and she always stays nice and quiet.
Yeah.
Which that in and of itself is fantastic.
So when.
Yeah. Oh wait, it's going to learn his.
It's going to learn my mannerisms. Yeah. As the AI agent. Well, the other piece of this and what the screen we're showing here is just the recap of this. So even though we showed you the fact there was this long value, it's the fact that you can actually go back and now we're looking at that transcript. Like, so I don't have to go listen to the full voicemail. Just like a Teams meeting recap, I can recap the VM that's coming in, and I can make decisions on that of like, hey, here's what happened. I can see who talked. I can see what was the follow-up ask and all that. This is another cool thing. So we've gotten so used to the fact of using recap in meetings and transcripts of meetings, and now that's just extended into voice and into voicemail.
And the other thing too is we're looking at this as a recap in meeting. So there is now customized templates, because one of the things I hear from customers all the time is I want to be able to customize that transcript and do things that are pertinent to my business. So now there's actually templates that you can use as you apply, so that as you think about these recaps, that it can go into a specific one that you want to do organization. And then also as you think about some of these different AI summaries, let me go back. Let me go forward. I think I'm messing up with them.
That's your next topic.
Yep, that was my next topic. Okay, let me go back. Sorry.
Sure.
So that's coming. So with shared phones, this is coming. So if you already have like a shared line delegate or voicemail, one of the things we'll talk about here in a second is you're going to be able to see those voicemails, and then you will be of that shared line. So that's going to be coming. Multi-line is just now being released. So, and multi-line, for those of you who may or may not be aware, it allows the user to have more than one phone number. Believe it or not, this is a big thing for Microsoft, because we think of user base and I think about Active Directory and things like that. So it's quite some time to get this out into the cloud and prioritize it. But that is coming to also. So some of those gaps that you saw in traditional phone systems, we're closing those gaps.
I'm good here. Yep.
I can't believe that.
I don't need. I was just thinking in my head, like, how many numbers do I actually really need in life?
And how many of you even know these?
Fewer numbers. Yeah.
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 Exactly.
Plenty.
Exactly.
Give one out to certain people with some breakthrough.
And then, as it was mentioned, you can also give access to the full transcript and recording if you
Other folks.
You can put exactly, and you can put policies around this too. So if you have retention policy, do discovery, things like that, all of those things.
Talk about the Qs app a little bit. So the Qs app, so shared history of all of your calls and voicemail. How many folks are already using the Qs app? Okay, cool. So this is basically now we have a shared history of all those voicemails that are coming in, and giving that an easy, quick access, if you will, for folks that are using that app to be able to go through that. So having that shared history is now generally available, and giving all of your folks that are working in that queue that one view to really work inside and out of, so they can actually all see, who's actioned on that voicemail. What have we done with it? Do we need to call back? What do we need to work on that? So the big part about this is making that experience smoother for the customer. So if they're leaving a voicemail for your queue or for your office, how you react to that and how you can now deduplicate the work, if you will, instead of just having to say, well, did you call this person back yet? Now we can actually all see all of those voicemails that were left against that number.
Review required? Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
Premium Tim's premium is required. Yes. Yep.
That is correct.
Yep.
All right. And then as we think about it, everything as agents and AI continue to evolve, we can necessarily, yes. Yep. That is a great question.
I don't think
Usually, so just the question was, is that available on GCC, which is our government commercial cloud? So think about when we roll things out, we just in what we call ring 4, or you think about going from state to fraud, et cetera, through the states and the production, et cetera. GTC is considered ringside. So generally it takes a little bit more time to get there. This recently GA, so I'm going to say it's probably just looking probably 60 days. So this can take that open.
Yeah, we can follow up on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always.
Yeah, it may take a little bit of time, and it usually has to just be programs and things like that.
Yep, there's a lot of other processes that has to
get
be
through
first.
So, but it can take a follow-up. And usually, pieces like that take a few days to then roll into right.
Yep, that's my off.
Yeah.
So this page is really just kind of a summary of all the agents and the AI that's in play for the meeting space. So we talk about Copilot within that meeting to give you that quick summary. Talk about facilitator agent to be able to go ask questions. One of the things with facilitator agent I'll share, and my team's actually been using this a lot this week, is we're doing a lot of our next fiscal planning. So Microsoft runs from July to June. And so we actually have these big meetings that are going on within my team, and we use Facilitator to kind of expand upon ideas. And so we bring in a template like, hey, Facilitator, we're going to talk about these things over this next meeting. At the end of this meeting, prompt us for what we missed, or take all of our ideas and turn them into, a PowerPoint deck or a Word document or a loop, like whatever that might be. But there's so much more that you can do with Facilitator that I think most people scratch the surface on in terms of what it's capable of. And just by asking it, like either saying, hey, Facilitator, take a note for this, or schedule a meeting for this, or, put this in a list for me. Interpreter agent is another big one that's been in place. How many folks have used that already? Interpreter agent? Yep, handful. Okay. That's really, really cool. I enjoy interpreter agent, and it's getting better. Like the switching is almost real time now, back and forth. So you actually have a lot of good stuff with that.
Talk about that. There's some improvements that are there.
For the interpretation. Yeah. I jumped your slide, didn't I?
Exactly. You sure did. Did you see what he did there?
Yeah.
He actually, that was a great setup. So
you're welcome.
Interpretation in interpreter. So there was a lag and delay, and you had to wait for one person to finish before the next. Now it can actually be life cycle. So that is really key. I use it personally. So I cover all of the Americas. So from the tip of Alaska down to the tip of South America. So I mean Brazil, I mean Mexico, I mean Latin America. But I'm also in Canada. And in Montreal, they only speak French. It is a requirement that you speak French, even if you can speak English. So I used to travel to Montreal, spend a few days there, and somebody inside the room would interpret for me. Everything was being spoken in French. I don't go to those meetings anymore. I actually have a really great experience as a hybrid participant in these meetings, because they can speak in French and I speak in English, and I go back and forth, and it's a great experience. So if you haven't used that today, now one of the limitations is that we'll do only 2 languages right now. So if there's more than 2 languages being spoken, we will run into issues. But just heads up that is coming. So I know. Oh, wait a second. Let me think about that. Interpreter is a Copilot.
It's a Copilot feature.
So it's a Copilot feature.
Yep.
I don't think it is. It's not a Teams Premium. Oh, Copilot Premium. Yeah. Thank you, Emily. So our licensing session is here. And we keep changing the names of things.
Yeah.
Pay Copilot. Yes. So in other words, and what Alan's referring to is we had Copilot Chat, which was our HCD version. It was free. And there were features that were in there. And now we have Copilot Premium. So we just rebranded it from M365 Copilot to Copilot Premium from a license. And so that's what Alan is referring to. God only knows. They do not ask us before making these changes. And by the way, sometimes if you wait an iteration or two, we end up back where we started. So,
No.
Exactly. And then as we think about activities, this is probably one of my favorite things as far as the intelligent recap is to be able to collect everything and be able to say, see, other thing is visual.
Then putting in the template.
And putting it into the template. 100%. Yeah. So, and you can give this template a name. So we alluded to that earlier, but this is actually what it is. So now you can test these and you can have repeatable features and things like that. And it doesn't require an admin to do this for you.
Nope.
So you can do this as the organizer on your can be able to reuse that.
And this is definitely like as you've got meetings that are repeating, that's where these really, really come in to help, because we have weekly stand-ups, daily stand-ups, et cetera. So we have templates in there that we make sure that we've got the right data that's coming back out. And that way it's all in the same format versus because obviously a lot of times you would just take the Copilot summary and then you have to go process that. Now it kind of gets processed, put in the right places for you. So that I can immediately turn around and just send that out. I don't have to do anything, post-meeting for it.
Does anybody have this turned on? Right? Learning legal requirements and things. Okay. Because the other thing too is you can also, in Copilot, you can set it where you can get the meeting recap, or basically the facilitator can work in there. You can use it during the spectrum of the meeting. But then by policy, it can also then not work after that. So by policy, you can set it that during the meeting, you can capture all of the Copilot notes and use the 10 milestones basically gone.
Yep.
All of the information. So if your organization or someone a customer that is concerned about that and concerned about that meeting, you can still provide Copilot value in meeting without doing the intelligence. I think we use a lot of value that way, but that personally, and this is one of my favorite features. So again, somebody mentioned how many things, Brian uses a lot of meetings. I do too, especially when I'm in front of a customer. I try and prioritize the people who are in front of me rather than catching up on things that are happening real time. So I do video recap, and I'm able to basically give it a recap one, an executive summary. So be brief and bright, be gone. And where I can do it there's one other one I don't use very often. But basically what it does is on my way home from wherever I am, I listen to the recap on my phone. So I'm getting a deep dive and recap of all of the meetings I had that day.
The team examined how Zava can move from providing data to delivering actionable guidance. Drew stressed the importance of prescriptive outputs and positioning the product as a partner, not just a tool.
Shouldn't say, here's your data. It should say, here's what I would do if I were you.
Now, this gives a video clip of it, but you can also just get the video recap, the audio recap. Now you can get the video recap.
Yeah, I think the bigger piece of this for me is exactly what you saw, where in the recap, it's jumping to the actual voice spoken word of that person versus it just being the text. So I can actually see so I can actually see what was the action item that came out of that I need to pay attention to. That's pretty cool.
Yep. Because then it gives that context, right? Because I don't know about you, but I usually context behind some of those things as well. And then as we think about Teams events, these are expanding. So today, a Teams event where you're able to have collaborative engagement, be able to unmute, et cetera, be able to text via IM versus in the Q&A app, that is expanding up to 3,000 participants. So that was an ask from many of our customers. And then also in the events, the town hall event, we're to now fill up to 1,000 participants. And there's additional registration features and things like that you can also study from templates and reporting. So as you think about those large events, how you can be effective. All right.
Collaboration space. All right, so let's talk about a couple things in here. So first is it facilitate the collaboration between people, and then the collaboration between humans and agents. So it's experimenting with how those AI pieces kind of blend together. So the first piece of this is external collaboration, and a lot of this is really it's making it where that external collaboration is not a separate experience, because we do have a lot of things where we're talking with folks that are outside of our company. And working with folks across that. So making it easier to switch back and forth between tenants, making it easier to be able to see notifications. That's one of the things that we've been working with this MTMA hub and working through that process. And then the right-hand side of this is making that easier for you to maintain as an admin, like being able to add in external folks, external companies that you want to collaborate with, or that you're doing federation with, or things of that nature. So we've now made it easier for your users to bridge that gap between inside and outside, and then also easier for you to administer that in terms of controlling what that can do. There's lots of different pieces in both of that. And the frontline agent. So again, frontline agent is where we're starting to think through. This is in public preview now. So a lot of this is it's making it where your folks that are in that frontline role, they have access to the same things that your folks inside would be. They're sitting at a desk. So being able to interact with this agent, ask questions about scheduling, get answers to questions that they might have. But it's also making sure when we think about frontline, the goal is to make that as simple as possible, right? And the goal is to make that just the most simple but rewarding experience that we can. And this is really some strides into that of making it where your frontline users can really get the same answers and pieces that they need from AI that they would have before. So that's where this agent really comes into play.
How many of you have frontline workers today? And this is thing does the benefit to, yeah, we're hearing that a lot specifically how we do hospitality, right?
Yep.
It needs to be easy and affordable and on devices that they're already using. Most of these are, business needs devices, but there also are some that have BYOB policies. All of addition to those.
Yeah, and I think the other big thing about this that's as you start to play with it is the ability that you can scope what this agent can respond with. So like you can go in and say, this is my SharePoint site that I want you to go get your data from. I can ground this agent where I need it to be, because frontline workers aren't going to necessarily need access to everything in your tenant. I'm very specific about, I know this is the data or the publications or the scheduling or the descriptions of product or whatever that might be. I can scope this agent to that so that when they ask, they're getting super quick answers and it's very focused on the answers that they need to move forward with.
And they can also use voice. So if you're concerned about, the ability for people to do it in a safe environment and not be focused on their device, it also works with people.
Yep. The next one we got is Copilot in Teams for collaboration. So this is Copilot within the chat. So a lot of the same things that you saw in the meeting space, now coming over into your chat space and being able to start to see those things. It's an accelerant of giving you the background on options. And the example I used earlier is totally valid here as well. Like when I'm having chats with people, and Microsoft's known for acronyms, right? We love acronyms. I don't know all the acronyms, but people throw an acronym out in the chat. And I'm like, I have no idea what this is. Hey, Copilot, tell me what they mean by this, and then I can continue that conversation without having to, drop off to somewhere else and go look that up. And then thread summarization. So if you're using threads inside Teams, being able to very quickly get a summary of that thread and catch you back up to that thread without having to read every single one of those. Because quite frankly, I don't have time to read every summary that's out there. But
it's like emails. Let's say, hey, Connie, what do you think?
Yep.
What the hell?
Yeah.
Forked everywhere, and I don't even know what it is, and it just quickly summarizes.
Yep, re-engage with the piece. And then all this is on mobile too. So everything that you see here from Copilot and Teams chats and the threads are all on mobile client. Yep.
Multi-authorization capability. So some customers, even though they have a single parent tenant, they may have subtenants, and they actually don't want people to talk to one. Right? The idea initially was to make sure that they were isolated from one another. It happens a lot in mergers and acquisitions, right? But they want to be able to communicate now as one. So it's really difficult to be able to set those boundaries. This is what took so long to be able to bring it together because we had to write policy.
Yeah, you're off in two places, basically. Just there's a logic behind that.
And what you had to do before, you had to log into a different tenant, have that experience. And so if you were part of two tenants, you risk. And some customers have 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got one customer that has 106. So in order to be able to talk across those and be able to see the communication as a single organization, they had to put some boundaries and rules. And so now we've made that a little bit easier based on the customer.
How to get that? Yeah, it went from being just the notifications to now you can kind of straddle that space a little bit easier now.
And thank you for asking. It is in preview.
It's a preview.
Yes.
So Teams mode for Copilot. So this is, again, being able to start a group chat and adding folks into that group chat. So being able to interact with AI and then also being able to determine what pieces of your interaction with AI go back to that group. So being able to have the conversation on your own and then bringing that back into your group to go through that. I think we have a demo of this on the next slide. Let's see.
So
one more click and let's see if it plays. There we go. So it's going through Copilot asking for a pricing summary. So I'm in a chat with two other people here in this case. And then what you're seeing is at the bottom is we're getting this prompt that says, hey, there's data that you have access to that the rest of your chat cohorts may not. Do you want me to grant that? Like, do you want me to give them access to that data? It's just another safeguard, because obviously when we think about Copilot, always keeping in the back of your head, Copilot has access to what you do. It doesn't get some super user access or anything like that. So when we're dealing with things in this situation, it's an extra level of security of saying, hey, what I got back, these other people can't see. Do you want me to put that into the chat with them when I share this back? So you get another little piece of that to go back in that. Do what our next one is. These are all the fun ones. This is talking to individual people and walking through the pieces of that with Copilot and the folks that are coming back. So again, the big piece about this that you're getting is the fact that we have Copilot in the middle of this. And so in a group chat, not in a meeting, the three of us are interacting with Copilot at one time. Like, we're all able to ping questions off of it, have it do summaries for us, and really collaborate on the conversation. Versus in the past, this was, I would go talk to Copilot, they would go talk to Copilot. We're going to maybe get different responses, but now we're all working in one place.
And my favorite part is now I can just turn it into a quick and
make it an email. Yep.
And maybe make a few edits, but I can also decide that some and also, do I want to do calls to action? So I can go do all of that for me. So use tons of time and is a bit more concise.
Yep.
Is it all the way there?
No.
But it gets 95%.
And so this will show you the workflow within inside Teams here. So this is a lot. We talked about workflows and like co-work and things of that nature. This is exactly what Connie was talking about earlier, like putting some of these into place to make go through and summarize things for me, sending the brief in Teams. So this is kind of one of those where I'm putting a workflow in place to say, go summarize my meetings for the day. Send me that as a chat so I can read it really quickly. That way I don't have to go into all of those meetings and read all those email summaries. I use this quite a bit because it's, as she said, we're constantly at event speaking or traveling to customers and things like that. So this is really, it's a game changer for me because it lets me stay up to date on things. And I don't have to spend Friday on the plane, like trying to catch up on the thousands of emails or meetings that I miss. This comes in every morning. And so I've just got a couple minutes over coffee. Okay, these are the things I need to action. And then I can, maybe these save till next week or whatever that looks like. But putting this in play and having it being done for me and me not having to sit in front of Copilot and ask it to do it and wait for it to get done, it's just there. Like, it's just automatically there for you.
And my favorite thing is every Wednesday I have to give an update to my senior leadership on my top 10 deals. I use workflows. I have it scheduled and it goes in. This is my top 10 deals. And it also assigns risk because based upon the conversations that I've had, risk. So we have the accounting who gives kind of what their feedback is and what their judgment is on it closing. But then based upon my insights and what I think about the judgment on the deal closing or risk that we need to go address, is able to give that information. That used to take me an hour every day for one. So what are you? I'm done.
Yep.
And I do have to sometimes make mistakes and things like that. And it simplified my
Yeah, it's getting a huge chunk of it done.
huge chunk.
All right, talk a little bit about workplaces for us.
All right. So how many of you have go back to work requirements? I did most requirements. Go back to office. Only two people? Wow. Okay. Because I'm starting to hear this as a thing more and more.
Yep.
With inside of things. So some of the things that we're doing to make that a better experience, specifically for those hybrid workers, because not everybody's going to be in the room.
Mhm.
So everything that we've been talking about, facilitator, interpreter, things like that, how well does that work on a meeting room device? It doesn't so much today. When you go into a meeting room, it might be 203 said this. Well, that's not very helpful. They're wrong. Was it Heidi? Was it Brian? Right? So we're going to be walking through some of the things that are simplifying that experience from a technology perspective. So as we think about voice and face video and being able to unlock that, today you can go in and you can record your voice in that video attribute that your digital signature, your voice digital signature can be added. What we're working on now is we're making these active something where as it learns from you. So this is our admin feature. So you can opt user where it automatically recognizes Connie's voice. So when Connie is speaking in 203, it recognizes that Connie is the person who made some of the comments in that particular room. And then as you can see, you can opt in, you can opt out of that, so you can get press. So users want to do that for yourself. So you can allow them to do it for themselves, or you can also do things that you can use just for them.
Yep.
Your organization.
Yeah, and I think the biggest piece of this, honestly, is like what we're talking about, like being able to go into a meeting room and having that transcript be me. Like when I said something or when I was asked something, I'll be super transparent with you. Like even within the Microsoft world, like all of us don't want to have those profiles, right? But those of us that do, there's definitely some benefit. But I understand both sides of the coin. But it's also one of those where for me, because I know that I'm getting all of my summaries out of those meetings, I'm getting them in Copilot transcripts. It having my voice and where I spoke and where other people have done that, it now makes that Copilot summary more meaningful to me, because now it's not just the room said, as Connie was saying, like it's actually Brian said or Connie said. Like you can actually see that interaction, and kind of bringing what we see in your hybrid meetings when we're online really into that full meeting room space. So trying to bridge that gap between that, as a lot of folks have had. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So the voice print of this and it understanding your signature is what lets it do that. So then when the room's capturing that, when the room and the meeting hears that audio, that's when it's going to say, oh, yes, it was you that spoke. Yes, it was Tim that spoke. Like it knows whether you're joined in the laptop in the room or you're just joined in the meeting room. Like both of those come into play. Yeah, the prints are there for all that. Yep.
Not yet. I don't know.
Yeah, not yet. I haven't yet.
I'm not seeing it yet in big customers because this is actually very, very new. So I'm not going to take back from since I partner very closely with my studios. And
Yep.
I am not doing
Yeah, because there's
Are you starting to get some?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the other thing to keep in mind is that those voice prints are secure. They're within the boundaries of the tenant. The same rules and everything and regulations that apply to the tenant apply to the voice prints as well.
And usually what ends up happening is legal gets involved because they have legal requirements and they have to go against their legal documents.
Yep.
All of this is published out on Learn. And I highly recommend that you have a lawyer speak to a lawyer. It's not even necessarily a technology conversation anymore. It ends up being, a conversation between two lawyers who are trying to determine feasibility. I will say though, too, for those folks, and this is a pushback I always give customers, if they do not allow recording or transcription to this on, I can assure you that they're using some tool to do this. It's just the only thing is now you just don't see it as part of your IT, it's not a skill. But I can assure you there's using some tool or they're trying to
record. Yep. On their own. Yep.
Better to have an IT sanction tool than to have them using some kind of
shadow IT pieces. Yep.
Device. There we go.
There's your enrollment report. So you can see how many people actually went to the voice enrollment pieces or the face enrollment pieces in there.
And then this is a good thing to be able to share fast, right? This maybe this get this past how you this and much. What it gives you an idea of the how they feel about it. So that gives you some information. The other thing too is Copilot can also do stuff and homework as well. So if you wanted to get some insights or what does this data mean for me, you can actually take some of that data and roll it into some other reporting. Interpreter agent and team. This is really cool. So it was not available in Teams rooms. A lot of it came back to the hardware, right? So we've been working very closely with our NPR partners, et cetera. Now you can also see where you can have interpreter settings in the meeting. So just the same as you've done in your interpreter agent inside your Teams meeting. Devices. And here's a quick screenshot of what it looks like on the NPR. And facilitator. It was not available in Teams Room either, but now it's available in Teams Room. Everything that brings
all there.
All there. And then ad hoc room reservation. This is actually because it used to be you had to go in, schedule it to see the place, and it cascaded through, right? Now you can go sit in a room if you're allowed, and you can actually reserve the room directly from there. So it's a much simpler way, especially if there's somebody that's not there. Previously, too, if There's sensors in the room. If somebody is not in that room, they have that meeting room reserved, and maybe they do it on a rolling basis. And
What?
Yeah.
Holding a room?
Are precious.
Yeah.
Yes. And you go in and nobody's there. You can start a timer too. If it's 5 minutes after the hour, 10 minutes after the hour, whatever it is that they need their appointment by, you can also make that room free again, allowing somebody to pop in, go into a meeting.
It's real fun to walk in while they're having meetings and telling them you're going to schedule in the future. Hold on. Yeah, so don't do that.
Oh, this is really cool. One of the things that we heard from customers specifically around Surface Hub devices is the ability to mirror path. So being able to share your screen, you can now do this, and it is in public preview on MTR devices that have Windows alone.
Yep.
The comments on that are huge. That is huge.
It's a huge one. Yep. Being native makes that a lot easier to deal with, for sure.
Absolutely. I love this feature personally because one of the things that I don't do well is visualize how a room should look and how I should think about setting up my room. I think this is also great for partners too, because you can help visualize with customers what a room should look like. So you can take this architecture and in the room builder and the pro management portal, be able to go put all of these things together. And we know that meetings require lots of different hardware devices to get the best sound, and you have so many options and price points. What this allows you to is to be able to select those devices, be able to see what it looks like in real time. And it gives you a guide because also where you set things, right? How high off the floor? Do I need a rally bar? Do I need something in the background?
Yep.
How can I optimize this room for the best experience for those?
Yeah, I think the other thing of this is just being able to take this and output it, like to give you a starter, an idea of what cost is going to be to outfit that room, and then obviously you can talk with the vendors, go through that process. But this at least gives you a starting space.
So it comes from MSRP that's currently in, exactly. So it just points back to that website, and again, it's MSRP. That's where you have the opportunity to work with your partners on your specific.
That's correct. Yep, that's correct. It's a public preview. Yep, public preview.
I like it. All right.
So yes, yeah. So a lot of this is really just kind of we talked about this already about Copilot being the productivity assistant. We talked about the fact that we've got agents and teams now that are helping to make our life a little bit easier as we do things with collaboration, and talked a little bit about some of that work IQ stuff in the bottom, some of the interactions that we're having on the back end. Then the next slide here is we talk about the top 3 actions that are in here. So the big piece about this is enabling enrollment if you're going to do the voice profile, if you're something that interests you for your meeting rooms, or if you're starting to do return to office. The second is if you're not using Facilitator, I challenge you to go start doing that. Like it will absolutely change how you do meetings. The biggest thing for me, as I was saying earlier, is it's just interacting with it like it's another person in the meeting. Like it's just going through and making sure, you're asking it questions. We put ideas into our meetings that we speak to, and then we'll tell a facilitator, hey, go expand on this. Go build a template out of this. Go build me a document. Go create, what does my next meeting need to look like to expand on this process or idea? There's so many cool things that you can do Facilitator Live. And then starting group chats with that Teams mode. So being able to use Teams mode in Copilot and having multiple people using that same Copilot interface and really getting those same answers back. Lots and lots of good stuff in that space as well. So those are good.
And I have a question for you. We've just shared a lot of information and a lot of capabilities for your end users. How easy is it for them to adapt? How are you thinking about training end users, right? Because there's short video clips on YouTube that you can put into your portals. We've also created the adoption hub. Are those things useful for you? Is there some gap that we're missing? Just trying to think about users and all of this rapidity of things that are coming. I'm amazed even at Microsoft how many people don't set the presenter and attendee settings in these large meetings. And it's like, like somebody's unmuted. Well, it's like,
of course they are. Yeah, of course. Mute all.
Or takes over the screen share.
Yeah.
And it's like, guys, this has been in the product for 10 years.
Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, so there's two main ways. So the learning portal, yes. Adoption.microsoft.com is the primary. So one of the things my team runs adoption.microsoft.com as well. So one of the things
See
that we
how
do.
I set him up there.
Yeah, I know you did. I see it. So adoption.microsoft.com, what we do internally is we work with all the engineering teams and the product managers as they're starting to release features. We work to make sure that that content is into that portal. And the goal is to make it where if you're doing user adoption, everything you roll out uses user adoption, full stop. But that's kind of your starting spot. And so no matter what features are starting to roll out from us across our product suite, everything can kind of start there. We're very adamant about that updates weekly right now in terms of new content. Yep. Yeah, all those pieces are. Yeah, we're plugging into a lot of and Allison's here about Viva. Yeah. So yeah. Allison's going to talk about Viva this afternoon. Yeah. But no. So all of the but so all of those things are basically adoption.microsoft.com is your key site for anything that you need adoption material related. And then we're building things downstream from that. We're working internally to make it easier for you as consumers to not have, because arguably, if you have to go out to Lord and try to figure out all these different pieces that you need, it's a nightmare. Like, it's, hey, Copilot, please save me. But adoption.microsoft is our answer to try to help with that.
And the best part about that too is that you can brand it, because a lot of customers, they want to brand that content to their own organization.
Yep.
This allows you to do
some
that.
of those kits that are out there for sure. They help with a lot of that.
I love the kits. So good.
Yep.
I use that all the time. Questions. I know we covered
There's a lot of stuff in a short amount of time. I also realize we're between you and lunch, so. It's more than that. It's more than that, because a lot of it is thinking through the other integrations that WorkIQ is going to provide you. So WorkIQ to me is, you start talking about like MCP servers and being able to bring in external data source, being able to reason over things that are not necessarily right within the tenant. That's where WorkIQ really comes into play in my mind. A lot of the stuff that we talked about is really kind of the Copilot. So there's kind of Copilot agents, and then WorkIQ is an extension of, it's another layer down in my mind. It's like being able to bring in external data source or MCP data source and being able to use that within the context of Copilot. It sits just, I don't know, it's a fuzzy line between WorkIQ and like stepping into Copilot Studio. Like all of those are they blend together for me. But yes, so WorkIQ is really that next step of integration to other data source that you would like to bring in to be reasoned over.
And by the way, we're working on Microsoft IQ, which also brings in Fabric. So if you're building your own custom pieces, and then also it's bringing
Boundary.
Yep. IQ. Yep. So now you're able to bring all of those pieces together, whereas they've sat before in different things. Now, one thing I often focus on, we're seeing some customers do that, is they're taking that information because it's API and they're exporting it out of their tenant into other external data sources or other AI tools to reason over. Do be aware that that breaks your EDP and DPA
agreements.
It's no longer
it's not within the boundary.
Your tenant being piped off. Also, you're piping out portions of it. You're not actually getting the full benefit of what we've been able to do, being able to get all of that meta ID. The other thing customers aren't aware of as they consider licensing costs, they're going, oh, well, this license cost this month. Somebody's giving me it free for a year. But what they don't look at is the total cost of ownership. So we've got a bunch of customers that are now in a very bad place from a TCO perspective because they've made the decision to pipe it out, to move it elsewhere.
Yep.
That costs money. So the homes with the truck who move your furniture from one house to the next, that costs money. And then also the furniture that you now have in the new house requires a separate insurance policy. So you have to think about the security fines and all of those components. So those are just some gotchas to be aware of that we're seeing from other customers. If that's something you're considering, just leave it in the Microsoft boundary and then build connectors.
Build the connectors to it.
And leave those things in those places. Don't move the data. So I just wanted to caveat that because I'm seeing it more and more, and customers are getting into big trouble. And it's also the total cost of ownership is
Much higher than they thought. Yeah. What was free is not.
It's not
Yeah.
free. Like a puppy is free.
Yep.
Same thing.
All right. Any other questions, comments? We get you guys out a little bit early. Last thing for us is please do evaluations for us. If you've not done this while you've been here this week, this is how we determine as conference organizers what sessions are valuable to you and what we want to bring to the next sessions and how we think about this. So if you got good feedback on what we've delivered for you, please go out and let us know. If it sucked, still happy to hear about it. So we can
Make sure you remember Brian's.
Yeah, remember Brian's name if it was horrible. Connie delivered this. It was beautiful.
Allison. It was Allison.
Yeah.
Sorry, Allison.
All right. Thank you very much for being here. Hopefully you have a great last day here at the conference.
And safe travels.
Safe travels back. Thank you.
Thank you.